So we've got lots of colleges on today. We look like we've got about 51 delegates on this session, so that's pretty good. Maths and English has always been a massive issue to kind of get the students engaged, find innovative ways to kind of relate it to the hospitality courses. And so, you know, we've done various things in the past, but when Neil Rippington was at University College Birmingham, we initiated a campaign across all the academy colleges to actually encourage students to turn up for the maths and English sort of retakes or functional skills, and if they did apply themselves in terms of, you know, just trying as hard as they possibly could, it wasn't attainment based, it was more rewarding them for doing their very best. Then we would take them out for a lovely lunch somewhere or a dinner, and the chefs were really forthcoming and offering lunches for sort of 15 students at a time. Unfortunately, then all the restaurants got shut, so we didn't actually give those fantastic students who earned those lunches their actual trip out, but I'm sure we've banked it to be able to do it again in the future at some point. But you know, it is quite tricky to actually encourage students to potentially apply themselves to subjects they weren't necessarily very strong at school. So Neil will give you a little introspective into the ways in which he finds useful to engage and encourage students to do their very best, you know, in terms of getting those passes that they very much need in order to pass the course. So Neil, take it away, please.
Okay, hello everyone. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, just give me a little thumbs up. Right, okay, yeah, so this is going to be quite a busy session, so I'm going to try and get through. I'd like to welcome my colleague, ex-colleague actually, Jodie Seaton, who I worked with for many years. Jodie is a guru of all things maths and English. He ran a very successful department, so I've collared him to jump in this afternoon, and I haven't given him anything particularly to say, but I thought he could listen and jump in where possible and maybe shine some of his wisdom on the rest of us. So it's going to be sort of split into two. The first aspect is going to be about English, and then the second half will go onto maths, and then hopefully we'll have time for some discussion as well. I'm also going to try and make it a little bit practical to give people something that they can perhaps sort of take away. I know that most people are practitioners and have to deliver some element of maths and English or support maths and English teams. Is there anybody, if I just put on the gallery view, is there anybody that is a maths or English teacher primarily?
I've got two of my staff from Loughborough College on in about literally a couple of minutes, one maths teacher and one English teacher.
Oh, that puts me on the spot a little bit then. Okay, because I'm not a maths or English teacher, but I am an advocate for teaching maths and English. I think it's one of those things that, and hopefully Jodie will be able to back me up a little bit in a while. It's one of those things that, you know, from my experience, my team have been, and some of them have openly welcomed teaching elements of maths and English, whereas others have had the opinion that it's not really their issue. Maths and English should be taught by sort of specialists. You know, we're here to do a particular job, whether it's front of house or in the kitchen or in the pastry kitchen or in hospitality management. But I really do feel that we all have a contribution to make, and also even from our own perspective, to make sure that we keep our own maths and English skills improving as we develop ourselves, and then we're in a much stronger and better position to be able to share and pass on some of those skills to our students, because they're spending so much time with us. So what I'm going to do is share my screen, and I'm going to just go through a few slides. Basically the rules as before, very quickly. If people wouldn't mind just turning their mics off, raise your hand if you want to say something or put something in the chat, and we'll open up the mics a little later on so that people can talk as well. these slides will be shared out as they were previously following the conference. So don't make notes, well, you can take pictures if you want to, but we'll share these sort of things. And again, I'm not trying to teach anybody, you know, I'm not the guru of maths and English by any means. And I'm sure people have got some fantastic ideas and practices. But within this hour, I'd just like to share some thoughts and a couple of tools and ideas with you. So really sort of setting the scene about maths and English. These are fairly reliable statistics, although they do vary from source to source. So you could have seen some other stats much higher, in fact. But I've gone for ones that I feel are fairly reliable in terms of their source. So literacy skills costing the UK economy around 37 million. And just to put that into perspective, an article by CND and other sources have actually said that we could possibly end homelessness in the UK with around 10 million. If you think of the scale of the NHS, they received 150 billion pounds of funding last year. And the cost of Brexit, which surprised me because I thought it'd be more, but at the moment it's according to the Institute for Government at the end of 2020, it was 4.4 billion, likely to double by the time we've sort of sorted out a lot more of the legalities and arrangements, probably double that within a couple of years. And then also tests times educational supplement last year, poor maths skills costing the UK economy in the region of 388 million pounds a week. And this is because people are making mistakes, they haven't got the confidence, employers are losing contracts through whether it's sort of literacy, poor accounting, all sorts of reasons why such maths and English skills are costing businesses such a large amount of money. And it also prevents people from establishing lots of opportunities as well. So it can hold a lot of people back. So it's not just purely about money, but about job opportunities as well. So just moving on to the next picture. This is a national picture just for GCSEs. I know we teach functional skills and other sorts of forms of maths and English. But the lifetime productivity gain, as I was just saying, is estimated to be over £100,000 for people with solid skills at level 2 and above, as well as those social mobility opportunities that arise from people that have higher level skills in maths and English. And it does come with this power. So skills is power, knowledge is power, having confidence to work out bills and quotes and selling prices, as well as understanding, being able to communicate, being able to present people to write. But we all know that students often say that you know, they've done maths and English at school, they probably may have had a negative experience or they've really struggled with it, and they've come to college or they're moving on in life and they want to sort of put that in the background. Really, I'm moving away from school, I don't really want to do this stuff anymore. It brings back bad memories and all the rest of it. So today's session really is about trying to support you as teachers and educators, so that you can support your students so that they can maximize these opportunities and build their careers alongside gaining high level technical skills and practical skills. So we'll try and embed some ways to embed maths and English. I think this number 2 is really important in terms of deciding what goes into the classroom, because it's not really fair on anybody, particularly the students, if our college senior managers are saying that you have to teach this, you have to teach that. In terms of maths and English, if the boot was, you know, if this was reversed and we said to maths and English teachers, right, you're going to take a pastry class this afternoon and we want everybody to make fresh puff pastry and you're going to turn that into a millefeuille, and they went in and tried to do that with no fault of their own, unless they're sort of very good home bakers, you know, it's an unrealistic thing to do. And the point I'm trying to make is that it goes the other way as well, that forcing or putting pressure on vocational staff to teach things that they're not confident in, they're not qualified to teach, is not the right thing to do. So I think it has to be a fair measurement of how we can put maths and English into the classroom on the basis that what we're teaching people is accurate, and it is fair to them in terms of the knowledge that we're passing on to them is reliable, and we're genuinely helping them and not giving them false information. And then from there, I think it goes into how we can develop a planning tool with the maths and English departments to make sure that we can work together going forward and understand, okay, you're going to back up these particular skills through your vocational areas, which supports us. You're embedding the message. Everybody's sharing the same ethos. You're promoting the fact that maths and English is an important thing to do. So a couple of things that I thought we could have a look at is something like this, a RAG rated system that's very simple, and students can actually use them themselves as well. So this one is about spelling, punctuation and grammar, SPAG, and it's RAG rated, red, amber, green across, and it goes down in terms of its difficulty. So I'll slide down to this. This one's actually got 6 points. So these are number 1, 2 and 3 are quite sort of elementary skills that students really do need to sort of focus on and work on and need correction. So making sort of basic mistakes in terms of, I've put up there a lot instead of a lot, getting the tense right, were and was, and learning when to use these things, because it will have an impact on the way people or the way businesses may view them in the future. And we often see chefs that promote menus, recipes, or we read menus that have poor language use in them. And regardless of the professional nature of the person, they could be the best chef or the best front of house person in the world, but it does sort of take the edge off a little bit, and you start to think, well, that isn't a very professional presentation of yourself or your business. So these are certain things that people can really focus in on and look in terms of the way that they can measure in certain fairly straightforward ways across vocabulary, tense, and spelling. And then if I go back to the amber areas about sentence variety, and looking at the way that structures go together, and students can start to judge themselves in line with their teachers to see where their strengths are, where they need to work, what they need to work on to improve, and then get into the more accurate use of punctuation and range of accuracy. So I'll leave that with you, because we're already sort of into halfway through the time for the English section. And as I say, you can have these tools and use them or adapt them as you see fit. But this reading exercise, and hopefully everybody received an exercise that Alex sent out a little earlier on. But again, this is RAG rated in terms of reading. And reading and listening they often get put into the lower hierarchy of the importance of English. And I know that Jody, for example, and he doesn't probably know that I know this, but he was doing quite a bit of reflection on the importance of listening in particular a week or two ago, and the fact that people often do a lot of talking, but they don't do so, they're not so good at reading accurately and or listening particularly well. So I think those skills can often get taken for granted or not considered in the same way as reading, in the same way as writing and speaking. So again, some fairly elementary or the more basic skills here in red in this left column. So reading questions accurately, making sure that the understanding is in place, and that any keywords are confidently highlighted. Looking at active reading, highlighting with purpose, being able to scan for important information, and understanding the true meaning and the clarity of basic information. And then going up into the amber areas about selecting key bits of evidence and being able to summarize key points. And then, sorry, into the higher areas of reading skills in terms of analysis and evaluation and summarizing and being able to make comparisons. So what I'd like you to do as just a little exercise, just a little scanning and skimming exercise. Has everybody got the exercise that I gave them earlier today? I'd just like to spend sort of 5 minutes really looking at the exercise, if that's okay. And what I'd like to do is answer that first question. We'll just do the first one, not all of the exercise, but if people could just have a quick scan through that and come up with the points, yeah, using a highlighter if you've printed it off, or maybe just to do that. Is that okay with everyone? Has anybody got any questions on that bit? Is everyone okay with that? Just give me a thumbs up or. Okay. So here we were looking at the boy of 15 who eats nothing but jam sandwiches. And what I'd like you to do is just detail what suggests that Craig is a healthy teenager in spite of his unusual diet. And I'm looking for maybe 8 or so pieces of information from that text.
Are we calling them out or writing them in the chat?
We'll call them out in a second. Don't put them in the chat because then the others will see them.
All right.
And just while everyone's doing that, Neil, I'll just pick up on a few points that you made. Is that all right?
Sorry, Jodie. Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. So right at the beginning, and you quite rightly said, maths and English is for, if you're lucky enough to have a discrete maths and English delivery team, it is for the maths and English specialists. You wouldn't ask myself, for example, to use a certain dish, because I'd only be able to do it at a superficial level. I think it's important to differentiate between maths and English in terms of a curriculum that needs to be delivered and taught, and literacy and numeracy development, which is what I believe we're talking about here. And literacy and numeracy development is something different, and that's for everyone to try and embed as best we can. And also, a good message or a key message is, if you don't feel comfortable doing something, don't do it. So if you're not comfortable marking for tense, subject verb agreement or sentence structure or anything like that, don't do it. But within that, try and work with your departments that are there within your institutions, organizations, to identify that as a CPD need, not just for yourself, but there'll be other people as well. And like I say, I've done this for 12, 13 years, to support you, to say, look, we've got 15 staff here who aren't comfortable marking for sentence structure. So let's do some development around that so that they are or become more comfortable around marking for sentence structure. And that was it, really. I think everything else, you've hit the nail on the head, Neil. And just some more supplementary points, really, key messages.
No, thank you for that. Yeah, no, totally agree. And I think it's a really important message that it's got to be that team shared effort. So people should continually try and develop their own skills for their own benefit and the benefit of their students, but that people shouldn't feel under pressure to do something they're not comfortable with. Absolutely. So Denise, I think you've got a question.
Yep. So I was going to agree with Jodie saying that it's about contextualizing the maths and English. So we're not expecting the lecturers to teach maths and English, but we are expecting them to contextualize it. So if you have got a recipe and it's for 4 people, somewhere along the day or that session, just get them to divide the recipe, to multiply the recipe, just so that you can see that you are embedding some maths into your lesson as you're teaching. And with I think exactly what you're kind of getting us to do today, Neil, where contextualizing the English is that give them the recipe and ask them to find the key points in it, the key ingredients, the key methods. So that, again, you're contextualizing the reading, the understanding during your own practical lessons. It's not all about being done in the maths and English lessons. I think it's really important that the students understand that maths and English is important. We're going into the hospitality industry. I'm not going to just say being a chef, but going into the hospitality industry, that they understand that maths and English is important. And I find when we're enrolling students, a lot of the students are like, I don't want to do maths, I don't want to do English, that's why I picked catering, because I don't want to do it. And I think we understand it doesn't matter that you haven't got the skills at the moment, but it is important that you develop those skills and that you're willing to learn, all the time about maths and English, because they will need it. Look at how we are at the moment.
Yeah.
Some people are furloughed, only getting 80% of their wages. Are they able to work out what that 80% of their wages is?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, it's good points.
Thank you.
Ivan, have you got a question?
No, I just wanted to say,
Ivan.
if I write, Ivan, that's all right, don't worry.
Ivan, yeah.
When you write recipes.
That's not an English name.
Ivan, yes. When you write a recipe, I think it's very important. I mean, I feel that I'm very slow learner, and I need things to be simple, to the point, and like bullet point type, not pages and pages of writing, because I see a page like that, I will never read it. And I understand that the students would be like that. So if I design recipes, and I do plenty, when I write it down, I do it in a way that suits me, thinking if it suits me, it would suit most people. Yes, Denise? Say something. And, don't put them up from the start. It needs to be relatively clear and concise, but not a lot of waffles. Thank you.
Now, all I was going to say, Ivan, is
Thank you.
everybody learns slightly different, so we can't always do things how we learn. But I know what you're saying.
No.
But if you do it in a way that reaches most people with difficulties to a certain degree, then you might reach a lot of people then, rather than the other way around. When you do it for the elite and the others, well, good luck.
Yeah, there's certainly important to know your students and to get to know how they learn. We've only got an hour here, but it's a complex subject, and we do need to consider where people are and how to get in. Sorry.
It's a hot topic now.
Yeah. Okay, let's get some answers then. Who wants to shout out a couple of answers to the summary?
I'm going to go first because then everyone else can't pick my one. So I think it's the 2 litres of milk per day, if I'm correct. Let me just quickly go back up to the top of it. I didn't get to print it off either, so sorry, but yeah. Oh, sorry, 2 pints.
Okay.
So what's giving him some healthy aspects to his diet is 2 pints of semi-skimmed milk a day.
Yeah. Okay. So he's getting some protein. He's getting some vitamins. He's getting healthy teeth, perhaps perfect teeth. That was there. So that might have something to do with the calcium and what have you. Yeah. Okay. Anyone else? Don't be shy.
I started right at the top. I thought the 6 foot 2 inches and a flashing white smile was aspects of a healthy diet and a healthy teenager.
No.
I thought he's healthy running around the football pitch with all of his mates. So he's actually been very active. So any negatives from his simple diet and the fact that he's outside is improving his health anyway. Yeah.
No, they're good. So we've got 6 foot 2. He's a picture of health. He loves the football. He's drinking milk. He's got good teeth.
He's got good thick hair.
He's got good hair.
He's a strapping lad. That's what they'd said. And
I've got lots of expert opinions as well about him getting enough protein and vitamins and minerals. And the consultants show that he's in excellent health.
A healthy 11 stone.
Yeah. Eats meals regularly, breakfast, lunch and dinner.
Yeah, okay. Well, you're all very good at this because you've got all the lists I had, so there you go.
I think it's important because his mum said he was healthy as well.
Yeah, his mum was, okay. So really the rest of it, because we're coming up to 4 o'clock now, that was a great way to sort of, it could be about a story about a chef or it could be absolutely anything you wanted it to be. But it opens up that sort of discussion and the fact that people are looking for key bits of evidence. And then the rest of the task really just goes through how to sort of sequence. And somebody, it was Steph, I think, was saying that, you could put in that the experts said this, the diet was this, the appearance was that, there was physical sort of attributes and activities as well. So you can start to sort of sequence them and group things together. And then summarize those things, and you can take those skills down and then start putting them into sort of sentences with connectives in there. So really just a quick sort of run through as to something you can do. I'm not sure if you use RAG rated sort of tables in your teaching and learning. Do you do that sort of stuff? Is anyone using something similar to the thing that I put up? So
yeah, we at West London College we use the SPAG for English, so there's spelling, grammar, punctuations. We do use that. Yeah.
So this
Neil, could I just say something? We up at the college I work in, we used to have a dedicated core skills department. So they would look and they would take our students out of the hospitality department and teach them in their environment. And we felt that had quite a detrimental effect on the students' attendance. So although some of the staff in the hospitality department are not experts in any way in English and maths, we've had better results when they can see us contextualising the work and teaching based on the skills and useful maths and English. So when we're cashing up the till front of house, or when we're scaling up recipes or working out cooking times, and making it all like that, and they can understand that, we get a bigger buy-in from the students and then offer them extension exercises. But as soon as we put them into a different department to learn their maths and English, they just didn't attend. So I think that's something you're really careful of doing. Well, that's the results. And that's why I think,
they trust you, don't they? You build the relationship with them, and you're the person that they want to work with, or the people that they want to work with.
I think they can see a point in it as well. Sorry.
Good. No, it's fine. So I've got to crack on because we've got to get on to the maths now. So what I'm going to do is really, if I just share that, so I'm going to go back to this, and I'm not going to go through all this. Again, you can sort of have it. That, you know, basically there's a quote there from H.G. Wells about you know, the importance of learning facts and figures. And what I've tried to do is look at different capabilities between predominantly level 1 and level 2. I know that some students will be working at entry level 3 and 2 as well, but just looking at how the common themes can then sort of progress through. I haven't talked about GCSE or functional skills sort of per se, because there's just so much detail to get through. But what I would like to, for some reason, what I would like to do is really leave this with you to have a look at in your own time about looking at how you can take aspects of this confidently and look at how it might integrate into what you're doing, whether it's any shape or multiplication or whatever, scales and percentages, and however that might fit into your teaching and learning. And then just looking at some activities and topics that that might be able to bring that to sort of life and really embed it, which is what we were just saying there, that the students tend not to want to go to different departments and learn with different ways, but we do need that specialist sort of help as well, and different learning tools. So I'll come back to some of these ideas in a second. What I'm going to do now is sort of put myself on the spot a little bit, and I'm going to ask Alex if she could go to the second camera and just spotlight on that if I can. Do it myself. Alex? Oh.
So I'm trying to find it. Here it is. I got it.
Just called camera 2. Yeah, so I take the spotlight off this one. So it's just this one. Now you can see my back. Right, can everybody still hear me? Give me a thumbs up. Yeah, all right, okay. So can you see me now over here?
Yes.
So welcome to my kitchen. So you've been in Hayden's house, now you've been in my house as well. And what I thought I would try and do is just something. Oh, camera's gone a bit sticky. What I thought I'd try and do is just something quite simple that I've done with like first year students, or in a sort of demonstration where something as simple as a chicken can be discussed in more than its sort of anatomy. You can talk about the different types of chicken, all of those types of things. But I want you to be students and think of yourselves as, you know, 15, 16, 17-year-old sort of students without sort of very much experience. And you can take your mics off if you want, because I'd actually like you to sort of call out, because I'm not going to be able to access the chat and things like this. But try and think of the types of answers that students would provide by some of the questions that I'm going to ask. So first of all, I might, you know, sort of lighten up the mood by, you know, especially when students are quite young, they don't often realise that the chicken, you know, has had a life. It has run around the farmyard and those sorts of things. It's got wings, it's got breasts, it's got legs, its feet have been removed here, its guts and things have been removed. But I'll just say to them, so, you know, this is a medium-sized 1.5 kilo-ish chicken. Talk about whether it's free range or not free range, or corn-fed and all those things. But I say this is a farmed standard chicken. How much does it cost? 1.5 kilo chicken fresh. 16-year-old answer. How much does this cost?
Either.
£5. That'll do. Thank you. A £5. So what I'm going to say is that this has cost £5, and as a chef or somebody learn to be a chef, we need to know how to work with this. So what I'm going to do is say, from this chicken, how many portions do you think we would get out of a medium-sized chicken like this? How many people would it feed?
4.
4.
4. That'll do. 4 people. That's it. You're getting the spirit now. So we're going to say four people, £5. I'll do the maths for you. £1.25 per portion. So again, if you ask students, which is your favourite part of the chicken? Which do you prefer to eat? Do you like the leg meat, or do you prefer the nice tender breast meat?
Breast.
Thigh.
Yeah. What?
I'm a vegetarian.
Vegan.
I apologise. My daughter eats. I don't know why they call them vegetarian chicken nuggets. I don't really get that. But
Oh, it's corn.
It's corn, but they're calling them chicken nuggets.
Yeah,
I know. I don't like that either.
They call the sausages, and they're not.
Not right.
It's corn.
So basically, most students would say they prefer the breast meat. You know, it's nice and tender, and that tends to be the answer that you get from them. So I'd say, well, unfortunately, this chicken's got 2 breasts and it's got 2 legs. So how do we make it fair? That's, you know, if everybody wants the breast meat and there's 4 people in the family, how can we make sure that everybody gets some breast meat and some
Cut for saute.
Okay, we'll cut for saute. You're a very advanced 16-year-old, but there you go.
Sorry.
I would say cut for saute as well.
Sorry?
I was to say cut for saute.
Okay, well, so we'll cut for saute. So we're going to take out the wishbone. Okay, so
Make a wish.
Make a wish. This wishbone was already broken before I got in there. So, okay, so we'll take off the wishbone. Then what I'm going to do is we'll take off these winglets and we'll just scrape down the bone here. And we'll do the same on the other side. And, you know, to sort of make a... I apologise for the size of the board and the fact that it's a white plastic board. I only use this board for meats. All my other boards at home are like Hayden, actually wooden. So what I'll do is we'll just take these off. So I've got my little winglets here. And some people will use a saw to make sure that these are nice, and I've got my 2 wings. 2 wings. And then what I'm going to do, and here's my wishbone. Then what I'm going to do is remove the legs. So just a little flap here. We'll go through there, we'll turn the chicken over, we'll pull it back, and underneath here, we've got these 2 little oysters, which again, I would talk about as the best part of the chicken, where all the juices, when it's roasting down, go into there, make it really nice and succulent and flavorful. And maybe talk about the shape of it, because I'd say, why would it be called an oyster? Do they know what an oyster is? How do you spell oyster? And then I'd say, perhaps, okay, now you've got a nice chicken leg. So I might ask the students at this point, the same again, we'll just turn the chicken over. We'll go into the little oyster down here. Get that out. I might say, you know, the next time when you have a roast dinner or something along those lines, and the family's there and you go up for your sort of seconds, if there are any seconds, everyone will be crowding around the chicken at the top, trying to get the best bits of breast off. But the best bit to do is turn it over and take these 2 little oyster bits here, these lovely little round bits, and I'd talk about maybe the shape of this part of the carcass here being similar to the shape of an oyster shell.
You don't want to share
Okay,
that.
so
You don't want to share that.
No.
With the family.
Yeah, that's the bit you say. Don't share it with your family. Don't tell them it's there. Just go and steal it before they get there. So I'd say that we're taking the wishbone out of the chicken because it arches round like so. And if we come to cut the breast off, we hit the bone and it forces our knife out, and then we get left with spare pieces of meat left on the carcass itself. So now we have a crown. This is known as the crown. But what I want to do now is, because this is here, I've got my 2 chicken legs there. I'll do this bit first. I'm going to say I have to get 4 pieces of meat off here, 1 for each person. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from the center of the breastbone, which you can feel here, about 50%, about half, and I can make a little indent there, make sure I'm on the right sort of track, and that will go straight down and straight through this ball and socket joint here. So there's where my marker is, and I'm just going to take that and cut straight through. And then I'll say, look, we've got a lovely breast of chicken there, and it's nice and plump, nice plump breast of chicken on the bone, nice clean bone here. Take a little bit off there. So we've got a nice clean breast of chicken. And if I could almost say that this breast is probably bigger than those breasts that you buy as packs of 5 or 6 or whatever in the supermarkets. So I'd say there's one. Take it over 50%, halfway through again. And we'll just cut down exactly the same way. And we have the second breast. So now I've got my 2 chicken breasts, 2 chicken legs, and I'm left with this bit, this central piece of the breast area, a little bit of fat there. And looking down here, I've got a little guide where I've got 2 pieces, 2 little prongs. But I'm just going to go in between and separate those out so that now I've got this separate piece of central breast area, and I'm left with this carcass like so. To talk about wastage, we don't want to waste anything because it's cost us £5. Okay, I'll talk about the fact that the chicken is going to help me because now I've got to split this into 2. This end is higher and thicker. This end is, so now we're talking about measurement. So I could say, well, this is that. If I cut it down the middle, this bit's going to be bigger than this bit. So I'm going to have to compensate and maybe come over this way a little bit more. And luckily, if I roll my knife up, I get to a stage where the knife actually falls because there's a little dent in the carcass just there. And if I go through, that gives me a lovely piece of meat like so. So now I've got my 2 bits of breast meat. Just going to take off this up, talk about the ball and socket, the way that so now I've got a drumstick. Okay, we can talk about why is it called a drumstick, because it looks like one. Good answer. And the thigh. So, not very hygienic, but my earpiece fell out. Can everyone still hear me?
Yeah.
Cool. This bit comes off straight through there. So now I can say to the students, right, now we're in business, because we have got 2 drumsticks, 2 nice thigh steaks, 2 nice pieces of central breast, and 2 nice breast pieces, like so. And I'll say to them, okay, so that was my £5 chicken. How much would you pay if the chicken was presented to you in these pieces here? So somebody give me an answer. If it was all wrapped up and said, you know, this is chicken ready to saute.
£8.
3.
8.
8.
Two
So
pounds.
I've 10. I'll take 10.
Two.
I'll take
Okay,
10.
I'll go 11.
Are we bidding?
Any-
Are we
any-
bidding?
Looks like it.
Okay, and I can talk about, you know, keeping my little winglets. They could be barbecued, or I could turn them into little lollipops or something like that. So now I've got, and also all these pieces here, you know, say the carcass. What we're going to do with this, we don't want to waste it. It's full of flavour. We've got natural gelatin in the bones, things like that. So what can we do with the bones? I know you know the answer to that one.
Stock.
Stock, sauce, soup, etc. I'm going to wash my hands. My wife's moved the towel, which is very helpful. Just use this. Right, is the light on or off? Is that better? So the basic principle is that from my £5 chicken, I'll take £10, for example. So in the time that it took me to do this, I've used my skill as a chef to turn the chicken into this cut for saute. I've also got these waste products here, the bones and the little knuckle trimmings and the wishbone. So in terms of sustainability, I'm using the whole thing. How long do you think that would have taken me if I wasn't talking to you to do that?
A few minutes.
Not long.
If I wasn't
10
talking,
minutes.
just pick
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Okay, 5 minutes. Taking me 5 minutes. How many 5 minutes are there in an hour?
12.
12. How much money did I make from the purchasing price of £5 to the selling price of £10?
100%.
Yeah, in monetary terms.
Oh,
60.
So let's go again. I bought it for 5. You told me I can sell it for 10.
how much you get paid an hour?
Yeah, come on then, tell me.
There's your labour cost in there as well, isn't there?
Over.
Yeah, let's keep it relatively simple. I just want to answer the questions that I'm
£5.
asking. So I've made £5 and it's taken me 5 minutes. There are 12 5 minutes in the hour, you told me. So if I did 12 of these, how much money am I making in an hour without even cooking it?
60 quid.
60 quid. So just a simple chicken, and this is purely an exercise in terms of using maths, but going through the quality points of the chicken, the cuts, You could talk about how to spell certain things. Thigh, for example, quite often see the word thigh being misspelt. They even misspelt it on the wall at UCB. If you ever go there, there's a diagram of a chicken up there, and it's called chicken thigh, and it's not supposed to be a Thai curry or anything like that. It's a genuine mistake, which made me think of it. But there's just so much you could cover in such a small amount of time with a very sort of basic thing, and I just thought it's a nice simple way to go through how to really embed some simple maths into an exercise like that's very, very common. So that was that. So I'm going to go back over to the other screen now, Alex. So it's a little bit higher, this one, so I have to sort of bend down. So just in the last 5 or 10 minutes, what do you think, and we could get the chat going, if I just bring up my screen share again. I've listed, which you can all have, as I said, lots of different exercises in terms of taking 20% off the sale, increasing sales, food costing, discounts, percentage increases, wages, cost of credit if you were looking at having suppliers and those sorts of things, or investments. There's just so, I think maths is just so applicable to cookery and restaurants. It's just everywhere. Depreciation of kit. It depends really how far you want to go. Food ordering, bills, statements, everything that sort of goes on. You could look at big numbers, how things are sort of rounded up, how they're ordered. Temperature is another great one, because we're doing these things all the time. Why something food's colder than others. How to qualify those things, weights, cooking times, volumes, overtime, fractions, decimals, percentages, kitchen design, budgeting. It just goes on and on and on and on. You could go on for days, but I was just thinking, if this was a sort of a list of activities that you could look at, what would you say are the top 10 math skills to develop? And what I'd like to do is I would like to keep a list of this. So what 10 things do you think should really be covered for hospitality students? So could we get a little waterfall chat going, please? And I'd just like to do this for maths at this stage, because obviously the same could be applied for English. And Jodie, while people are doing that, do you want to just come over and just give your sort of final thoughts, please?
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, no problem. So I think me and Neil's discussed this over a few evenings. Neil came and asked me for my opinion. And what we wanted it to, or what Neil wanted it to be, should I say, is a bit more than just sort of like a one trick thing that you can pull out if you're being observed, or, if they will not mention Ofsted, if they're in more sort of something practical that you can take away. And the good thing with these tools, and I know Neil's got a maths planning tool as well, is that they can be used with a range of stakeholders. So they can be used with your vocational teams, your maths and English teams, your employers, your learners, your leaders in your organisation, and you can use them as activities to actually identify the most relevant English skills, the most relevant maths skills to your courses, and let's just focus on embedding those skills. Otherwise, it becomes an unmanageable task to try and embed absolutely everything, and actually it loses its impact. They help to build knowledge and develop skills that are appropriate to the students' work area that they want to go into, and also life in general. And if you use it to its maximum effect, you use it with the students so they actually identify what skills they're using. You use it with your employers so they can feed in what skills they're seeing as a shortage, maths and English wise, within their areas. And then you use them with your teams as well. you can start to create, whisper it quietly, but some sort of policy strategy about how your area is going to approach embedding literacy and numeracy. You give that to your leaders, and you've got your triangulation in there as well. So if somebody does come in to do a quick visit, talk to the students, they can talk about how they were involved in it, talk to the employers, they can say how they were involved in it. The teachers can explain it, and then they've got a document there that says, all right, this is what we're expected to see. And the whole focus with this, it's got to be meaningful, it's got to be purposeful, and it's got to have impact. If it hasn't got those three things, it's not going to get off the ground. And I think if you can engage students, engage staff, and engage leaders with you in your organizations with simple, effective tools that have those three things, you'll have a really good chance of embedding literacy for all students, not just the ones who need to resit the course, for all students. And I think that's it in summary, Neil. Thank you. I think it's been a really good session. I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Okay. No, thanks, Jodie. I'll give you the tenner later for saying that. So
20.
There's some great. No, that's a third of my wages for doing the 12 chickens. So what we're going to intend to do is sort of keep a record of the chat. Obviously, it was a very quick session to cover a massive amount of grounds, but I think if we could share afterwards, after the conference, maybe put some of these things together and look at ways that that we can maybe agree or highlight some of the really important aspects that students should be doing. And I think it also links closely to the business studies session that we had last week, in terms of students being more sort of trained in business type operations and having some acumen as to how restaurants work. So I think it might be a useful exercise to limit to them both. But unfortunately, we've hit past now, so I'm going to have to end this session because we've got to get on to the next one. I hope it was of some use and gave you some ideas. I'll certainly share the slides. And thank you again, Jodie, for joining us today. And there's more food for thought. And I'll see most of you in the next session. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Neil. Thank you, everyone. I've put in the chat there, great ideas coming through from everyone. Blown away by the positivity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks, everyone. Bye.